I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so calling this meeting to order, I would look for a motion to accept the regular meeting minutes from April 27th, 2020.
So moved.
All right, Letty, and second?
Second.
All right, Mark Crary, thank you. At this point, we would like to open it up to public comment, knowing, Rochelle, that we will have a section later on in the meeting to discuss 4th of July parade plans. But aside from that, any public comment? Okay, hearing no public comment, we will go on to the report of the wastewater department. So, Mark Doniker, are you willing and able to do that?
I didn't print it out. I didn't realize you wanted me to.
All right, I'll do it.
Okay.
I can do it. That's fine. All right. So Ed Charpeau provided a water and wastewater department report, as he always does. So he has sent out for the water department, he has sent out the monthly reports, and they've received the annual water quality report. Stacy has been very busy trying to put those all in a mailer to the customers with this billing cycle. In addition, it will be posted to the village website, so thank you for that. Operations, they're continuing to check the system for phosphate and chlorine weekly and bi-weekly as required. They've done the Camp of the Woods monthly reading. A break has been found today in the Wolf Complex. Those are the cabins that are to the south of Black Bear Run. At this point, the line really needs to be replaced according to our guidelines, as it was installed with insufficient and ineffective materials. If anyone has any information as to who actually owns the property or who is responsible for the maintenance of that, we've heard hearsay that the village is responsible, but we have no documentation to show otherwise.
Not to my knowledge, none, the village is not, but don't they have like
An association?
or a unit, you know, like the camp,
Association.
yes.
Camp Maryland, yeah.
Yeah.
That we're not sure. So maybe that's an option we can follow up with, Crystal.
Okay.
So the hydrants are going to be flushed this week, and they were supposed to start that today, but the break obviously was a priority. They've begun to receive calls for water meters at this time. They are attempting to do that without the homeowner available, if possible, to decrease any social interactions. And if it's not possible, they will continue to wear face masks as they have been doing in public. There were some expenditures from Stevenson's and Charlie John's, but those appear to be minimal. They have yet to do maintenance and water checks for leaks. There were some leaks over the weekend down at Camp of the Woods as well. And again, the annual cleaning and maintenance of the chlorine system. So today I spoke with the Office of the State Comptroller and had prior discussions with Ed and Crystal regarding the impact of COVID restrictions on water and wastewater revenues. So following these discussions, Ed and Crystal are calculating the potential impact on the water and wastewater treatment revenues from businesses and Camp of the Woods during the pandemic. And we will be presenting several scenarios to the board. Ed personally does not believe that the overall homeowner usage will vary from years past, but we can figure that into our system as well. And in speaking with the Office of the State Comptroller, Gary Gifford, he is suggesting that we find out what this information is, the potential impact, and then from there we'll need to explore what our options are. Are there inter-fund loans? Are there outside grants available? They are also waiting to hear, as are we, whether there will be a round of federal funding to assist in local municipalities. So he's asked that we reach out to him before making any final decisions on next steps. Oops, okay. So wastewater department. So with DEC, the WTC has been approved. The report for the end of April has been completed. They had to do an additional set of samples because the original influent BOD was very low due to the INI, the leakage issues. Operations, they're continuing to work their daily activities. They've taken the first set of samples for the new Speedies permit. There's a copper sampling study that will begin in July, as we were required to do. He is preparing a QA, PP, and monitoring study to be accepted by DEC for the copper and hardness of the water. Pumped sludge for the very first time this year. They have begun manhole inspections on Elm Lake Road, and they're continuing the operation of the outside plant at this time. The inside the plant is being pumped down for the replacement of diffusers, which were purchased through the upgrade project. And he finds that it will be unlikely to need both plants this year. I'm sorry, I can't read English. Quote, I find it unlikely we will need to run both plants this year, as it is likely our flows will be much lower than a normal summer, but only time will tell at this point. Okay, so they're gonna continue to check the stations bi-weekly, review the budget as we enter our last couple of weeks of this month and the end of our budget cycle. They're going to begin preventative maintenance on the pump stations and continue inspection of manholes. And they're adding lime to land application site to prepare it for biosolids to be prepared and that'll cut down, I think, on the overall smells that have emanated from the treatment plant in the past. Regarding the upgrade project, they're moving along. The last thing to be completed for contract one is the installation of the new VFD-driven pumps and the panel. And at this time, they haven't been delivered, and I understand that they are still on back order. And they were, Ed mentioned last time that he wanted to consolidate the contract. So instead of breaking it out into 2 or 3 projects and taking additional time to get bid requests and add that time on with the project, he would like to move forward with phase 2 and combine those smaller projects into one and decrease that time. So I see Mark shaking his head no.
It depends what the engineer has done. And I don't think the engineer can complete the entire second phase. That's why we broke it down, and we all agreed that we do the contracts, you know, like we specified, and you can't keep changing your mind. It doesn't work like that. So, you know, if the engineering firm was, you know, better prepared and can complete the tests, I'd say yes, but they haven't shown us that.
Have you talked to them about that?
No, we need to, I guess we need to get them in a Zoom meeting and find out what they've completed on the second phase.
Okay.
All right, then Crystal, may I ask that you set up a meeting with Ed and the engineers and Mark Donaker and myself?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, good. All right, and Ed concludes his report that saying if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call him, and we'll do that. All right, now going to the clerk treasurer's report. Crystal?
All right. Just a few little things. Well, one big thing and a couple little things. As you all know, by now, elections have again been postponed to September 15th now. While the current elected village officials will continue their office until that date, or until elections are conducted, it has been, the guidance has been given for the those who are elected into the offices to start as soon as the elections are certified. So that, could be within, 3 days after, as long as there's no request to recanvass. Additionally, all referendas, even though it wasn't specifically stated, they'll also go into effect the day, once the election has been certified. Absentee ballots, there hasn't been any guidance yet on the postponement, but it is assumed by NICOM that it'll be compliant with the election law, and it'll just, we'll still have to give out the absentee ballot applications for September 15th and, continue to receive those absentee ballots, mail them out, receive them. Now that we have a date, I believe that we'll be able to send them out as soon as we want to, but there really hasn't been any further guidance on that yet. All notices, like I said last time, all notices have to be posted to the paper, posted to places around the village. Voter registration, even though it wasn't specifically stated, has been, in accordance with the election law, has been extended as well to September 14th if NICOM was the date that NICOM, September 4th is the date that NICOM gave in their guidance. Let's see, they did state that, there could be additional executive orders for the elections in reference to any of these points. In addition, the official year, like I stated before, it still is, our official year still started on April 6th. And the organizational meeting will be postponed, should be postponed until after the elections have been finalized. Again, there's great great references on the NICOM website on their COVID page. Any questions about elections so far? That's pretty much it for.
Crystal, do you know on the application for an absentee ballot, I know there's limited reasons as to why you need one. Are they making any accommodations for people that might be concerned for health reasons not coming into it?
Originally, when it was postponed to June, there was part of the executive order gave people the option to check the temporary illness box, whether they were sick or just afraid to get sick.
Okay.
There really hasn't, he didn't really state that in this one, and there really hasn't been any guidance on whether that's extended with this postponement or if it's just the normal rules with the absentee ballot applications. Yeah, I'm hoping, they update the website pretty often, and a couple weeks ago they had that webinar, and they had stated that if there was any additional webinars needed, that they would be hosting another one. So I'm hoping they'll do that, and I'll know soon. Moving on, we continue to update the website as much as possible. There is a little bit extra work with these transcriptions and recordings having to be put up there. It's been delaying everything a little bit, but I think we're managing through those difficulties pretty easily. I have been working with Barry Baker from Real Property Tax to prepare the taxes for 2020. In working with him, there was an error found, and it'll be later discussed in new business. As Ed stated in his report, Stacy and I got out the May quarterly water and sewer billing, as well as it was delayed a few days because of the annual water quality report. the financial report number 8 is ready to be viewed. It's at the office for those of you who want to come and look at that in the next couple of weeks. And then finally, our next scheduled board meeting is on May 25th. But since that is Memorial Day, the meeting will be moved to Tuesday, the 26th. And that is it for me.
I assume there won't be any planning board meeting that night.
I'm assuming so. They haven't met in a few weeks or a few months, honestly. And unless they have something come up, they pretty much said that they're not going to meet.
Okay.
They find it hard. I don't know if they find it hard to do it through Zoom, or they just don't have anything going on, so they don't need to. But Dave said if there's anything that comes up, he'll let me know.
Okay.
Crystal, I just got a note that there may be 1 or 2 people in the waiting room to join Zoom.
Yeah, I just saw that because
Okay.
it was
All
hitting.
right, I didn't know whether you or Stacy had administrative. Okay, any additional questions for Crystal and or Stacy in this ever-changing environment? No. All right, well,
September, why don't we just wait till next March?
No, that was
did
my
the same
thought.
thing. But I would like to publicly thank Crystal and Stacy for adapting to the changes that just keep bouncing all over the place. It makes for a very frustrating work environment, but they have managed to keep a good attitude and plugging along. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
So may I have a motion to approve abstract number 22?
So moved.
Okay, Mark Doniker, and second?
Second.
Letty. Okay. I failed to mention that Karen McComb is out of town this week and is not participating in the meeting. My apologies for that. Old business, our favorite part of the meeting, the COVID update. So as you know, there's a weekly meeting with the Department of Health and the town supervisors and the county and a few other folks, schools and things like that. So the update is as follows. Around the village, we have new temporary signs posted that are a little more sturdy, asking and discouraging people from gathering to help prevent the spread of COVID virus. This is in lieu of permanent signs, and I hope we never need permanent signs. So we would like to thank Lake Pleasant School and Heather Philo for printing and laminating these signs for the village. They are posted as before at the pavilion, the basketball court, the playground, Tunney Park, and the beach. At present, we have 4 confirmed cases in the county, although the website shows 5. That's still misinformation. So we have 4 confirmed cases. 3 have completed isolation, and there is 1 new case located in one of the nursing homes. The state website also has 1 death attributed to Hamilton County, and I confirm with Erica Mahoney that this was an individual who has a primary residence listed in Hamilton County, but actually lives in New York City. So they were never here. They contracted and sadly passed away at their residence in New York City. We are still waiting guidance from Empire State Development for guidelines related to beaches, camps, and resorts. It's my humble opinion that I keep pushing that I think our beaches do need to be open. It is not a huge draw to the area. It's not an entertainment center, but I think from a safety perspective, I think it's imperative that we have lifeguards present. Any rescue efforts that would be required would call on the fire department, the ambulance corps, the sheriffs, and none of them have training specific to that type of water rescue. But that remains to be seen what happens there. Farmers markets are considered essential with social distancing, so those will take place. Our DEC campgrounds are planning to open June 1, and the DEC is still developing an operational plan. No additional reservations are allowed at this point. Bathhouses, beaches, and other common areas will not be open. So we'll see how that changes. For right now, I think that goes through May 31st. Summer events, again, we have instructions that there will be no social gatherings. Social distancing and mask wearing in public will be required through all phases of the reopening. State and county fairs are canceled in New York State. The Saratoga racetrack, I believe, is still canceled and closed, as well as concerts, races, Ironmans, parades, etc. And they need to think about summer events that traditionally occur and how those could possibly be modified under the reopening plans. And then something that came up was our use of the Speculator Pavilion, as there are a number of reservations. So I'm just opening it up to the Board of Trustees to suggest that we come up with a very short list of recommendations or guidelines for use of the pavilion that we can post online, and with any agreement that's been signed, that would include the size of gatherings, the wearing of masks, and social distancing. So are there any thoughts on that?
My understanding is Mrs. Oakes, who is chairperson of the Twigs Craft Fair,
Yep.
has come up with a plan in, she only has, to my knowledge, at this time, 100 vendors. But she's looking at social distancing to place them in the pavilion and on the ball field. We haven't really come to a determination that we're going to go with that. I doubt very much that we will do the food concession at the fair or at the craft fair. That's too involved, too difficult to control with the number of people that we have to work.
Mm-hmm.
So Jeanette, you can check with Mrs. Oakes, Barbara,
Okay.
and see if she's made any final decision as to what she's going to do.
Okay. Yeah, I think their plans would be helpful to know in advance, as well as go through with the Department of Health.
Right.
So yeah, so much is open, up in the air. Any thoughts about adding just some very top level recommendations for use of the pavilion online?
What else do we have scheduled there?
I think there's some birthday parties,
Flea market.
flea
and
market.
Twigs, which
Yeah.
would be the biggest.
Yeah, the farmers market and Twigs are the biggest, but then there are personal rentals.
Right.
I mean,
we have
not
a
personal
number of
rentals, but personal reservations.
We have a number of different personal, like private party type things with all different kinds of number of people attending. So
Do you know offhand, Crystal, the number of folks?
not that I can think of offhand.
Okay, all right. So
How will they social distance and will they wear masks? I mean, how can you control that?
Right.
I think all that we can do is ask. That's the big thing all around. How do you control it? We have no teeth. Well, I do, but you know, we don't have teeth to make things stick. It's not like we're going to haul people off to Hamilton County Jail.
Yeah,
But
well, then we shouldn't allow it. If we can't control it, we shouldn't allow it.
Is Governor Cuomo going to change the amount of people that can be together?
I don't know.
Because right now it's, what is it, 10?
Yep.
Yes.
If it's more than 10, until he changes that, I don't think we should allow them to use it.
Okay. Well, let's.
And we're condoning an activity that's opposed to his executive order.
Okay. All right. I will raise that at the Department of Health meeting tomorrow. And
the Republican Party committee or picnic is usually held there too.
Yeah, there are quite a few activities.
I mean, I'm assuming he's going to slowly, you know,
Ease it.
but whatever it is, we need to follow it, I think.
Yeah, well, with the reopening on the phases, that increases or should increase the number of people who are allowed to gather, provided that they maintain social distancing. So I think as an interim measure, we need to ask these people who are doing parties and things like that, how they're going to maintain social distancing, request or, point to executive orders that they should be wearing masks in the public place. So we'll see. We're not open yet. Mohawk Valley is opening, and 2 other places that skip my mind. The only thing that stands between us and the start of reopening is testing. So I think there are about 500 people who need to be tested, but the last time I asked about testing in the North Country, they said you had to have symptoms, you had to have a script from your physician. So if the majority of us don't have symptoms and won't get scripts, how are we supposed to get tested?
I believe that has changed. I spoke with Erica Mahoney today, and it sounds like we have a lot more tests available now. And are going to be
but those tests, from what I understood, are for people who are symptomatic.
From what she said today, it doesn't sound like that's going to be the case going forward.
Well, that would be helpful, because we had talked about even some of the antibody tests that are available and that are validated. Would we be able to do that? So, all right, I look forward to hearing more tomorrow. That would be great news. Otherwise, we're stuck in a hole.
Weren't tracers an issue also?
Say that again?
Tracers?
There's, yeah.
I think that was I think we have 6 out of the 7.
Yeah.
We met that threshold today. I think St. Lawrence doesn't have enough right now, but I believe that we are at a point where we've met that now.
Yep. Yeah, I think testing was the only hurdle that we had to overcome, and I think there are about 500 tests that need to be done. So I'll raise my hand and get tested. I'm happy to do that. All right, FEMA, let's move on to some other good news, another disaster. FEMA, I am very happy to announce that all workforce, equipment, and resource documentation for Category A, which is debris removal, and Category B, emergency protective measures, have all been submitted and accepted. We are now working on the donated resources as the next project is to be submitted at a later date, followed by the administrative project costs. And then Roger, Ed, and I will be doing the requisite inspections for the permanent work projects virtually through photos and GPS. So they've given us some instructions for that we can do in the interim. And we should be doing it between this week and next week. So that's moving along well. And they say once we get in there, we should get reimbursement relatively soon, but I don't know what is relative. So I would like to publicly thank Monique Simmons from FEMA and George Shangar from the New York Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Services. I have to say that they are some of the most helpful, knowledgeable, and patient people to work with every step of the way. They've been really great. If I ever, God forbid, go through another FEMA emergency, I would want to work with them. So Verizon small cell, that's going to be part of new business. McComas fire tower, I don't believe we have been reimbursed yet. Is that correct, Crystal?
I honestly haven't checked the bank account today.
Okay, so that should be imminent.
As of Friday, we hadn't yet.
Okay, that should be imminent as I speak with them. We are still waiting to hear for the LED streetlights. I have a couple of calls into Jessica Waldorf. They're recalculating the plans based on the change in the buyout numbers. And then to Letty's delight, we are going to approve, I hope, the employee handbook. And
not any more than me.
Yeah. But it's your delight, no? All right, so let's go on to new business. So I did ask Rochelle to come, and I don't know if Donna Benkovich is on the line, just to talk about the 4th of July parade and fireworks and what that's going to look like. And I know that Glenn Williams is also on the call, and they kind of give some oversight for the fireworks as well. So Rochelle, Donna, do you want to give us an update on what your current plans are with the parade?
Sure. As of right now, we haven't made any decisions. We've had some meetings to discuss and brainstorm some ideas, because I think no matter how hopeful we want to be, things are going to have to look a little different this year. And we've met with a little bit of negative feedback about that, but there's really, it's not in our hands.
Yeah.
So the ideas that we've had so far, we put it out to suggestions to the public also. One being doing like a reverse parade. So we would line up floats along a route, and then people could come through with their cars and do it that way. We also discussed kind of like a pop-up parade, basically set it up like the garage sale, so people could sign up and have displays at their home for people to go around. They'd collect a map that would be distributed. Another idea was to postpone until Labor Day, which, not my ideal solution. I think we need to do something around 4th of July. Part of it's also going to depend on, one, New York State giving us our DOT permit, and two, what the village decides as far as the fireworks. I don't know if you have any more to add to that, Donna.
Donna?
I'm here. Nope, that's good. That's all I know.
Okay. Okay. I think if we were to have the parade next week, we would have to either take up one of those options or cancel it. Just because, as Katie stated, with the executive order, no gatherings, no nothing.
Right.
All right. So let's stay tuned with that, and we'll move on to fireworks.
Just one comment. I think in all fairness to those people who work on floats, earlier a decision can be made, the better.
And for us as well, there's a lot of planning really that goes into the parade, and
Right.
it takes us months to get
Right.
to that point.
Yeah.
So we do need to make a decision, even though, the guidelines are going to be up in the air. We may have to be more strict with our plans for the parade than what is necessary at that time.
Well, in speaking with Donna, I understood that fundraising efforts were also pretty poor with the shut-in since March.
Yes. Yeah, it did affect our fundraising big time.
Right. So I guess I'm of the opinion that maybe we should put it on hold for this year and have a drop dead gorgeous one next year. Because I don't know how receptive or adaptive people will be to doing something odd.
Right. I
out of the
totally get
ordinary.
that. I think, though, that if we don't do anything at all, we're going to have people revolting in the streets.
Oh, absolutely. I think we do have opportunities for fireworks.
Yeah.
I think we do have, I think we do have a good opportunity for that.
We have made the decision pretty much that if we do, any sort of a parade, reverse parade, anything, pretty much anything that would have happened between the parade and the fireworks will not be happening this year.
Right.
We've canceled the bounce house because there's just no way
Yeah.
to keep people separate and to, sanitize.
Right. Right. Yeah, that would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, fireworks. I had polled the board earlier on about options for fireworks, basically having postpone, modify, or cancel. And I think we are pretty much in agreement that we would like to have the fireworks go on. There are opportunities for social distancing. There are opportunities for multiple viewing areas from the lake, the beach, Tunney Park, Ball Field, Cherry Creek. Any additional thoughts on that? I mean, I would also ask the fireworks company if they would only limit their fireworks to those that go high in the sky instead of, the down below stuff.
If we don't do a parade this year, you won't have all the vehicles in the ballpark afterwards. So you can put lots of people at a comfortable distance, I would think, throughout the ball field, the green area, playground.
Any other thoughts?
One of the thoughts I understand for the parade was to have them around the perimeter of the ball field, the floats and that. So keep in mind, if you're going to close the public beach and just use the ball field for spectators, you're not going to be able to put any floats over in there.
I don't think we discussed it putting floats on the ball field because we would want to try to keep people contained to their vehicles.
Yeah, I
We don't
understand that, but that was one of
want
the suggestions I had
multiple
heard.
vehicles you're driving around the ball field.
Mhm.
So the plan, if we do something like that, it would be setting them up on the street.
Oh, okay.
So regardless, we would have access to the ball field then.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, then I would ask for I don't know. Do we have to decide today? I would think that would be a good thing to make a decision to go ahead with the fireworks and then adjust as needed if there are any changes that come down.
I think you have to wait until Cuomo makes a decision if we're going to open or not.
You don't think that we can have fireworks if we're not open
No.
beyond phase 1 or 2? How far down the phases do you think we need to open in order to have fireworks?
I'm not sure.
I don't believe that, I believe it listed 50 people at phase 4.
How many people at phase 4?
That there have been some press conferences where Cuomo has touched on fireworks. What's that?
You're cutting in and out a little bit there.
And that's not great out here.
Yeah.
I know that I believe it's 50 people.
In phase 4?
Yeah. But he has touched on fireworks, I believe, in some of his press conferences and talked about doing it like drive-in movie style. So if you can keep people in their cars or, you know, away from each other, it might be allowed, but
Yeah.
hard to regulate that.
Yeah.
You could park cars in the ball field as well.
Yeah. All right, then let's table this for now with those options of using the ball field, of being able to park cars at the appropriate social distance, of asking the fireworks company to keep the fireworks higher up in the air than the low, finale that they usually do.
I guess back to Mark's point, if we decided to do cars in the ball field, the policing aspect of that. Oh, there's our neighbor. Let's get out and say hello. And, that kind of thing. Then all of a sudden you have clusters of people.
Yeah.
I thought you were referring to like a mess of cars, not in a line. When you said policing, that would be something I would be thinking of also.
Oh, policing people to keep their distance?
Well, no, like a parking in the...
To stay in their vehicle.
Yeah, to stay in the vehicle
I don't
or
think you can
on their
control
vehicle.
that. I don't think you can control it.
No. Glenn, you have any ideas for any help the fire department can give us? You're muted. Bottom left, the little microphone. There you go.
Okay.
Hi,
Hello, everybody. My thoughts were just if we can socialize in our cars and watch the fireworks. We can also socialize in our cars and watch a parade. We can do everything that we can. Just like if we go to Charlie John's, you've got to have your masks on. That's part of the if you cannot social distance, be the 6 feet away, you have to wear the mask. We can't police everybody. We're not the police, and they still have civil rights. They still can wear them if they choose not to or choose to. So the only thing we can do is make the suggestions that everybody stays in their cars and just go about our normal as we can routines. And as far as the fire department goes, we'll do whatever is directed to us. That is what we do. We serve you. So that's about all that I got.
So I'm thinking that perhaps if it comes down to that and some sort of policing would be required or reminding, perhaps we can call on some members of the fire department to help us with that.
Yeah, we'd be more than happy to help out any way we can. We're not going to be the police, and
No.
So we're not going to tell you you've got to leave, and we're just going to pleasantly remind people
Exactly.
that they need to have their masks on, and hopefully this all is done in a month, and we don't never have to worry about this.
Yep. All right. So let's put those plans. Let's make a decision by June 1st. Would that give us enough time to respond and react, I think?
At our next meeting.
Yep. Well, that's 2 weeks, Letty.
Well, I know, but it's only 4 days short of June 1st.
I know June 1st is between and betwixt.
It's the end of the month.
So by next meeting, let's make that.
How much lead time does the vendor need? The fireworks vendor.
I'll have to contact them and see.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
really think that we're going to just have to make a really tough decision, because as much as we'd all hope by then it's going to be better, from what Rochelle is saying about the phases,
yeah,
I don't even know how we can make it work.
Well, there's another option that was raised, and that was from Matt O'Brien, suggesting that they could shoot fireworks off of Oak Mountain. And that way no one goes to the top of the mountain. Of course, there might be some folks who gather down at the bottom, but that's another option. So let's see if they have any further guidance from Empire. That'd be helpful.
Well, finding out from the vendor for the fireworks how much leeway is he going to require, I think would be helpful.
Yeah,
I can call them
We had to
tomorrow.
wait down to like 3 days before the 4th.
yeah.
That would be acceptable.
Okay. All right. Thank you for doing that, Crystal, and thank you for your inputs on that. So now the budget resolution. So as Crystal had mentioned at the end of last week, she discovered an error in the 2019-2020 tax levy while speaking with Barry Baker from Hamilton County Real Property Tax Department. So it was confirmed that the approved and adopted budget for last year, or the current year that we're in, 2019-20, had increased the amount of taxes to be levied from $865,962 to $876,294, representing an increase of $10,322. However, we were informed that only $865,962 were collected, and the Real Property Department received correspondence from the former clerk treasurer on May 1st that incorrectly provided the 2018-19 budget summary, thus leaving the amount raised by taxes the same as it had been for 2018-19. So this results in a shortfall in the budget revenues, again, of $10,332. In addition, no documentation could be found certifying the amount of taxes to be collected, nor the requisite tax warrant that had to be issued. Physical and electronic files were checked, as well as tax rolls being searched and still come up empty. After consulting with representatives from NICOM and Gary Gifford from the Office of the State Comptroller, I'm putting forward 2 resolutions to amend both the budget for 2019 and 20 and the budget for 2021. So thanks to the effective budget management over the course of the year, to Crystal and to Roger as well, we have not run out of funds, and will actually finish the year with a fund balance in excess of the $10,322 shortfall. And in addition, we remain in a good position to keep the increase in tax levy to 0%, as we had voted on, thanks in part to FEMA reimbursement and increased revenues from Verizon that I'll discuss in the next agenda item. So right now I am going to attempt to share.
Hold on, I have to let you.
please let me.
Yep, there you go.
Okay, so share screen and 19, 20. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Good.
Right. I love technology.
That's impressive.
So this, I think we should do all our board meetings this way. So this is a resolution to amend the 2019-2020 budget to correct the tax levy error. So the resolution shall be known as the 2019-2020 budget amendment to correct tax levy error. Very creative. This highlights that there was an error found in the tax preparation for this year. The total taxes that were to be levied are coming up to $10,322 short. It was determined in consultation with Hamilton Real County Property and the current clerk treasurer what happened, and that the approved 2019-2020 budget summary has a shortfall. So, and in addition, there's no documentation for the tax warrant that is prepared by the village treasurer and signed by the mayor. So what we would like to do, we would like to resolve that the approved 2019-2020 budget be amended to reduce A1001 real property tax collection from the $876,294 to the $865,962 and decrease fund A160.4, which is refuse collection and disposal, from $24,650 to $14,318. So in so doing, Crystal has confirmed with Roger that those funds will not be required to be spent during the remaining 2 weeks, although there is a repair that is required to the garbage truck, and that will more than sufficiently be covered by the remaining proposed $14,318.
Jeanette, can I just make a comment?
Of course.
So the shortfall is actually 10,332, not 22.
All right, so we will change those. I'll highlight that.
And where does the 14,318 come from?
That's the balance. So the current monies in the line for the refuse collection and disposal was $24,650.
Oh, gotcha.
And so when you take away the 10,332, it comes to the 14,000.
Can you just scroll up so we can see the whole thing? Yeah, sorry.
Nope.
Perfect. Thank you.
Need it larger?
No, that's fine.
I just want to show you I can do it.
Okay, great.
That's more better.
So I would like a motion to accept this resolution.
So moved.
Mark Doniker, second.
Second.
Mark Crary. Is there any discussion, any questions?
I noticed that the 322 is in the third whereas also.
Yeah, so I've highlighted that we would change that throughout.
Okay, sorry.
And I guess you need to drop Karen's name.
She'll be marked as absent.
Okay.
Having no further discussion, all in favor to pass this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say no. Okay, the resolution carries. Okay, so the second resolution is for the 2020-2021 budget to correct the tax levy. So I'm sorry, let me share that screen. I'm being taxed with my abilities today. All right, good. Let's make that a little bit larger. Okay, so in this regard, it's similar, but for the future budget of 2021, highlighting the error. the amount that I do have correct in this resolution of $10,332 and how the determination was made. Let me correct that. Basically the same thing, that there's the $10,332 shortfall. And I would like to add in there that the mayor and board of trustees feel that during this time of the COVID-19 pandemic and the anticipated economic hardship, it remains in the best interest of the taxpayer to not increase the amount of taxes levied for the approved 2020-2021 budget. So in this regard, we would have to appropriate $10,332 additionally from the fund balance. And I would like to point out that even though we would increase that appropriation to $41,648.76, we're still running about $20,000 to $25,000 less than fund balances that we have appropriated in the past. So may I have a motion to accept this resolution?
So moved.
Letty, second.
Mark,
Mark Doniker. Any discussion? All right, having no further discussion, we'll put it to a vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right. I'm going to do a lot of resolutions today, sorry. All right, so now moving on to the Verizon cell tower contract. So we're getting closer. Verizon will, what we found out in the Verizon lease agreement, and as you would have realized in reading through it, Verizon will actually be paying the village a total annual rental of $2,400 to be paid in advance on the commencement date and on each anniversary of it in advance. So that will be monies coming into the village, and of course will help offset the $10,332 shortfall. So at this point, are there any questions on the lease agreement?
There's no commencement date yet, right?
I think it's the date that it's signed, that the agreement is signed.
But did they don't have a commitment to, as soon as it's signed, they're gonna put the, okay.
That's my understanding. Yep.
Okay.
We don't, you are correct, Katie, in that they have not specified the start date or build date for the pole. So at this point,
Just so all the board members know, I looked through it. It's pretty standard contract language.
yes, Katie has reviewed it all. And all the board members have copies of all the documents as well. So at this point, I am looking for a motion to grant me the authority to sign the lease agreement with Verizon for the cell tower pole.
So moved.
Letty, a second?
Second.
Mark Crary, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries. The second one is a motion to approve, and I guess I was a little out of order here. The resolution is for the Verizon lease agreement and authorized payment. So I guess we've done that, but let me put the resolution up there. And so this is share screen. And Acrobat. Okay. So this is a little bit lengthy resolution that you were provided last week. So the facilities, the space, the rent, and then there'll be another resolution for the state environmental quality review that we'll go through.
And I've looked at both of these also.
Yep. So the initial annual rent of $22,400 with 5% increases every 5 years, and other terms and conditions as we agree upon. So may I have another motion to pass this resolution to approve the lease
Move.
with Verizon? Mark
Yes.
Craig and Mark Doniker, second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Oh, sorry. All opposed? Okay, motion carries. As part of this, there is a resolution for the board regarding, they call it a seeker, the State Environmental Quality Review Act, making a determination of environmental significance, and in this case, making a negative declaration that it would have no impact. So again, this was provided in advance, and it goes through the reasons supporting the negative declaration, which is based on air, water, noise, waste, erosion, drainage, site disturbance effects, that it will not create any adverse changes in those areas. The aesthetics, culture, archaeology, history, natural or cultural resource, community or neighborhood character will not be impacted by the single pole. The vegetation, fish, wildlife, significant habitats, threatened or endangered species will not be affected, nor community plans, use of land or natural resources. No growth, subsequent development, etc. will be impacted. No long-term, short-term, cumulative, or other effects, critical environment area, and public health and safety. So I am looking for a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved.
Letty, second.
Second.
Mark Crary. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed say no. Motion carries. As part of this, there is a form that you also receive, a short form with all the project information that we will have a copy of in the office. Okay. So the next, if I get this correct, there is, I think it's the memorandum of lease agreement. So this is a memorandum of lease agreement. In effect, Katie, correct me if I'm wrong, this is what allows the lease agreement to be filed with the county clerk.
Well, the actual lease agreement isn't filed. This is just for Verizon to have something in place at the county clerk's office to show they have a right for the pole to be there.
Okay. So I am looking for a motion to grant me the authority to sign this on behalf of the village.
So moved.
All right, Mark Doniker, second.
Second.
Letty, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say no. All right, motion carries. I hope that's enough of this sharing. So that takes us through the seeker, and then there's a tax return that just requires us to provide some information about the village, including the EIN number for their tax purposes. I don't know that I need a motion.
I don't think you need a separate motion for that because it's
provide that.
connected to the memo.
Right.
In order to file the memo, you have to do that, so.
Okay, all right, so that's all taking part of that, but just for all the purposes that's provided. Okay, good. It looks like we'll get a cell tower. So the last bit of new business is to approve the Speculator Employee Handbook. Again, all corrections were updated and provided to you in a final draft last week. The final draft includes the edits, additions, corrections, as well as the policies and forms that are referred to within the document, and then any references to outside laws such as, or guidance such as the Federal Labor Standards Act, et cetera. The warehouse for commercial licenses, those sorts of things are all referenced in the handbook. So are there any questions, corrections, final changes? No?
No,
All right. So may I have a motion to approve the revised and updated Speculator Employee Handbook?
Oh, you certainly can.
Thank you, Letty. And may I have an enthusiastic second?
sure.
Mark
Ah.
Doniker. All right. So
I
I'd
third
be
it.
Prairie.
Mark Prairie thirds it. Great. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say no. The Speculator Employee Handbook is approved and will be in effect May 12th, 2020.
Yeehaw.
Congratulations. That was a big job.
Thank you, Mayor, for taking on that job.
Oh, you're very welcome. And thank you for all of your input and slogging through it to the end. So roundtable, does anybody have anything to put forward as far as the board roundtable? Mark Carreri, you want to start?
Nothing tonight.
Nothing? Mark Doniker?
Yeah, I'm just, for the fireworks and the parade, I'm just concerned that bringing people in may impact Charlie John's, who we need, and the other businesses. And, you know, that's my greatest concern.
To not bring them in?
To not bring them in. And, yeah, I just want to impact any of those businesses and our population. And I think it's our obligation to protect our residents the best we can.
Okay. Letty?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing. Okay. Tomorrow there's a little more good news on the horizon. Tomorrow, the Department of Transportation will begin work on the sinkholes by 3 drainage grates on Route 30 and 8.
Again?
Well, that's for this year. I think it's an annual event. I think they just
Yes.
come to visit us.
I think they fix them so they sink just so they can come back.
I think so. So there are 3 of them. One is down by the entrance to Downey Ave, one is by the firehouse, and one is in front of the Nelson's house, Judy and Dave Nelson. So those should be fixed. Second, I am in the process of identifying grants that the village can apply for that would support the wastewater treatment plant upgrades as they relate to the required updates in our Speedies permit, and in support of our recreational economy, as well as any grants that would help fund the fire tower. That's a good thing. So I'll let you know about those as we get into full swing. And again, the Lake George, Lake Champlain business development group out there is helping us with that. So I really am appreciative, and I think we all are appreciative of their help. And then tomorrow there is a meeting with DEC, Oak Mountain, and the Lake Pleasant supervisor.
Oh, you're still in the meeting. I'm sorry.
Oops, someone should be on mute. Okay. So tomorrow we're meeting with DEC, Oak Mountain, Lake Pleasant supervisor to discuss the recreational management plan for the area specific to Brister Brook, and looking at creating, developing, and maintaining multi-use family-friendly paths for biking, hiking, cross-country, and snowshoe. So this had been done a number of years ago, fallen by the wayside a bit, as well as lime timber logging in those areas, unbeknownst to the groups that were maintaining it. So hopefully they will be able to have that recreational management plan, as many of other towns and counties have, that will help protect those areas and the investments that we make. So more to come on that. We've got a great bunch of volunteers, very excited to put into that. And the Brister Brook would join, Brister Brook is east of 30 across from Melody. It's right in that area. So Brister Brook is off to the right. And then Brister Brook would connect with Oak Mountain Trails, which is why Oak Mountain is part of the discussion initially. And then those trails would also connect with the tree farm, the Speculator Tree Farm in the back. So it would really create a great opportunity, and I don't want to call it a labyrinth, but a labyrinth of multi-use family-friendly trails. So I think that that would be a great draw for our recreational economy in Speculator.
Jeanette, is there any additional information on the sign that the fire department wants to put up on the building?
No. At this point, they're just applying for the grant.
All right.
But Wayne, am I saying the right name? It is Wayne, right?
No.
No.
Oh,
Bill.
Glenn, sorry.
Glenn.
I knew a Wayne.
It's Glenn. Yeah, Wayne's not here. Glenn's here.
Yeah, Glenn. So we were just asking about the grant that Ryan is writing for a potential LED sign for the fire department. Now I know, you know, what is the percentage of acceptance? We're not really sure, but if you had any additional details on any of the specs that you're looking at or thoughts behind it.
Ryan has submitted the application. It is actually the second time that we've submitted an application for a sign. And the sign isn't for advertising for the fire department. It is for public safety. It will put out things like the red flag warnings and the fire hazards, and we'd be also with the missing children and hunter safety, and some of the advertising for recreational things happening in the village. And that's kind of what we're looking at. And it's more of a community thing than it is a fire department thing. You know, we're just trying to promote the village. So it's not just for the fire department.
Okay.
And there would be opportunities to dim it, you know, in the middle of the night, or so there was a little feedback from the last time that there are no direct neighbors across the fire department, but there may be people impacted by the, you know, light pollution across the lake. Just something to think about.
Right. It's not going to be a flashing sign. It's just it may scroll. And it basically really depends on how much they allow us to have. Okay. And so it'll be more along the lines of a sign that just will scroll maybe red lettering and say, you know, fire danger is at this level.
Right.
Something like the library has.
Yeah, very similar to the library, yes.
Okay. Oh, so it's like the library, not the sign down in Wells.
It is not. It would be wonderful if we could have a sign like the one down in Wells, but I don't believe that is what is going to end up happening. It's going to be more of a smaller sign.
All right.
Okay.
We don't want to look like Las Vegas.
No, that's not our intention. We don't want to look like Las Vegas either.
All right.
We'll never have a cactus, Letty.
Yeah. Can we get a cowboy?
Could be. All right. So I'll open it up to public comment. Thank you, Donna and Rochelle, for the work that you're doing with our businesses and looking towards our economy there. It's going to be a long haul.
Absolutely.
All right. Having no further public comments, we will.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Which will be seconded by.
Come on, Mark.
Sure. One of us.
So meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. Our next meeting will be May 25th, probably still by Zoom, depending on the
Actually, the 26th.
26.
Oh, it's 26th. My bad.
Yeah, the 25th is Monday, but it's Memorial Day. So
My bad. All righty. So, all right. So we'll
Thank
see you
you.
then. Thank you for your Thank you for your good work. All right, stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, everyone.